We all agree that we urgently need to get the economy growing again. However, the bills brought forward in the King's speech don't represent big, bold economic change that the country needs. I'm going to talk today about just two things which would create economic growth: trade and how we balance tax and spending through our fiscal framework. So trade. Our country prospers when fair markets for goods, services, capital and labour operate effectively. Trade makes this country great. Raising barriers to trade makes it harder for the economy to grow, erodes the tax base on which our vital public services depend, and the cost of doing business skyrockets, whether you're a small business person in my constituency of Witney or a large financial institution here in London. The evidence of the damage Brexit has done is in plain view. America's National Bureau of Economic Research, who produces non-partisan economic research, estimates that by 2025 the Brexit process has reduced UK GDP per capita by 6 to 8%, investment by 12 to 18%, employment by 3 to 4%, and productivity by 3 to 4%. And that comes at an enormous human cost. The UK-EU reset has some good elements, and each element, which is being painfully negotiated, merely returns some of the benefits we all used to have. Our young people may soon have the opportunity to again travel and work abroad. We may rejoin the EU's energy market, cutting electricity costs and making both markets greener and more efficient. And the government has been working hard to sign an SPS agreement on food with the EU, which would hugely reduce costs and delays for our farmers, the benefits of which will be felt in Oxfordshire and rural communities across the country, bringing cheaper food onto supermarket shelves, which is good news for all of us. But consider the logic. The government is now fighting really hard to rejoin the EU's single market in food products, while remaining resolutely against rejoining the single market for anything else. Where is the logic in that? Two things are painfully clear. We are expending enormous political capital to recover just a fraction of the benefits we once had. And even that goal is wholly insufficient given the scale of the challenge our economy now faces. We need to be bolder and aim higher. Turning to the UK's fiscal framework, let's have a think about how well they've worked over the last quarter of a century. In the last 25 years, we have not had a single year where tax receipts exceeded spending. That's a period spanning at least 8 different fiscal frameworks. The 2024-25 deficit was £153 billion. So we spent £153 billion more than we received. That's 5.2% of GDP. And the consequences are severe. Our national debt has ballooned £2.9 trillion, equivalent to 94% of GDP. And when I look at our current fiscal rules, the words that come to me are, lie to me. The tradition works something like this. The government of the day assures the country that all targets will be hit, not now when it actually matters, but at a completely unknowable forecast date 5 years hence. That 5-year target rolls forward and is never reached. Spending is front-loaded in years 1, 2 and 3, tax rises are back-loaded in years 4 and 5, ideally the other side of a general election. And traditionally voters have been lied to because the alternative means politicians confronting and explaining a financial situation nobody wants to face. Is this failure inevitable? No, it isn't. Other countries have moved in the other direction. They have cut their debt to GDP ratios. So in Sweden, they had a financial crisis in the 90s, where debt to GDP ratio was above 80%. Its response was the 1996 Budget Act, one of the most rigorous fiscal frameworks in Europe, which fundamentally reshaped how taxation and parliamentary scrutiny interact. Most importantly, to our situation today, the principles of this framework continue to command very strong cross-party support. That does not mean that there is agreement on specific spending or tax decisions. These remain contested, but the framework rules themselves are treated as largely above partisan dispute. That is precisely why the Swedish model is so frequently cited internationally. So I'm asking everyone in this chamber and everyone listening to think seriously about whether we could do something similar here. After all, we are far better off addressing this very large problem now before a financial crisis forces our hand later.
Debbie.